My name is Toothy. Every morning began with the warm sunlight touching my fur. I would stretch across the wooden floor while my favorite human smiled and scratched behind my ears. They always called me their little sunshine, and somehow, hearing those words made the whole apartment feel brighter. We didn't have a big home or expensive things, but none of that mattered to me. Home wasn't the walls around us. Home was the sound of their voice, the gentle touch of their hand, and knowing we would always be together. Breakfast was my favorite part of every day. While my human prepared food, I happily chased my old feather toy across the floor, pretending I was the bravest hunter in the world. Every now and then, they laughed and tossed the feather a little farther just to watch me sprint after it. Our little apartment was filled with warmth, laughter, and love. I believed mornings like these would never end. I never imagined that before the sun disappeared, everything I treasured would change forever, and nothing would ever feel the same again. After breakfast, I always climbed onto my favorite spot by the window. I loved watching little birds hop from branch to branch while the warm sunlight rested gently on my fur. Sometimes I imagined chasing them across endless green fields, but I never wanted to leave home. Everything I needed was already beside me. My human smiled whenever I chirped at the birds, as if we shared the same little adventure together. Looking back now, I never realized those peaceful moments would become the memories I treasured most after everything changed. As the afternoon grew quieter, I curled up on my favorite cushion for a nap, listening to the gentle sounds of our little apartment. Everything felt peaceful, just like every other day. Then my nose suddenly twitched. A strange smell drifted through the air. It wasn't breakfast, and it wasn't anything I had ever smelled before. It was sharp, bitter, and made the room feel strangely warm. I slowly opened my eyes and looked around. My human was still busy, unaware that something was wrong. Deep inside, I felt a quiet warning that our peaceful day was about to change forever. Curious, I quietly padded toward the hallway, following the strange smell that seemed to grow stronger with every step. Then I saw it. Thin grey smoke slowly slipping beneath the front door like a silent shadow. I had never seen anything like it before. My ears stood straight up, and my heart began to beat faster. I looked back at my human, hoping they would notice too. For one brief moment, everything felt strangely still. It was as if the whole apartment was holding its breath, just before our ordinary day turned into a nightmare. My human suddenly froze and looked toward the hallway. Their smile disappeared, replaced by fear I had never seen before. They hurried to the front door, but the moment it opened, thick grey smoke rushed inside. They quickly stepped back, coughing as they pulled the door shut again. Then they called my name, louder than ever before. My heart raced as I ran toward them, confused and frightened. I didn't understand what was happening, but I knew one thing for certain. Our little home was no longer the safe place it had always been. Smoke spread through the apartment faster than I could understand. The air grew thick, making every breath harder than the last. My human called my name over and over, reaching through the grey haze. But I couldn't see them anymore. Fear took over my tiny heart. Instead of running toward their voice, I backed away into the living room, searching for somewhere to hide. Every shadow looked frightening. Every sound echoed around me. Without realizing it, I was moving farther away from the only person trying to save me. Then I heard a sound that made my whole body freeze. Crack! Crack! Whoosh! Bright orange flames burst into the hallway, climbing the walls faster than I could run. The heat rushed toward me, and the room that once felt safe suddenly became terrifying. I searched desperately for somewhere to hide and squeezed beneath a small wooden table. Curled into the tiniest ball I could make, I closed my eyes and covered my face with my paws. From beneath the table, I could still hear my human calling my name. Their voice sounded closer, then farther away, then closer again as they searched every room. I wanted to answer, but fear held me still. Suddenly, loud sirens echoed outside, followed by flashing red lights shining through the windows. Someone shouted for everyone to leave the building. My human called my name one last time before unfamiliar voices guided them outside. Then everything became frighteningly quiet, and I was completely alone. I was completely alone. The apartment that had always been my safe place was disappearing beneath smoke and fire. The air grew hotter with every passing second, and each breath became harder than the last. My eyes stung so badly that I could barely keep them open. My body felt weak, and even lifting my head took all the strength I had left. I thought about my human and hoped they had made it outside. As darkness slowly closed around me, I wondered if anyone would ever find me before it was too late. Just as I began to lose hope, a new sound reached my ears. Heavy footsteps echoed through the apartment, followed by calm voices calling to one another. They weren't frightened like before. They sounded focused and determined. Through the thick smoke, I saw a small beam of light sweeping across the room. Someone was searching every corner, refusing to give up. I wanted to call out, but I was too weak. With the little strength I had left, I opened my mouth and let out the faintest meow I could manage. The flashlight stopped moving for a moment, and the room fell strangely quiet again. I wondered if they had walked past me without knowing I was there. My heart sank. Gathering the last bit of strength I had, I let out another tiny meow, even softer than the first. This time, the footsteps quickly changed direction and came closer. The beam of light rested beneath the table where I was hiding. Then I heard a calm voice say, "I found one." In that single moment, the fear inside me began to fade, replaced by something I hadn't felt since the fire began. Hope. Strong hands carefully lifted the small wooden table above me. Bright light poured into my hiding place, making me blink through the thick smoke. I looked up and saw a firefighter kneeling beside me, wearing a mask that hid most of their face. Even so, I could see kindness in their eyes. They didn't rush or frighten me. Instead, they reached out slowly and gently whispered, "It's okay, little buddy. I've got you." Those words melted away my fear. For the first time since the fire began, I truly believed I was going to make it home. The firefighter gently wrapped me inside their protective jacket and carefully lifted me into their arms. I was too weak to stand, so I simply rested against them as they held me close. Around us, the fire continued to roar, and pieces of the ceiling cracked above our heads. Even through the danger, they never hesitated. Every step they took was steady and determined. I closed my tired eyes and listened to the sound of their heartbeat. Somehow, it made me feel safe. The journey outside felt longer than I could remember. Smoke surrounded us, making it impossible to see where we were going. But the firefighter never slowed down. They held me close, shielding me from the heat as burning pieces of the ceiling crashed behind us. Every breath became weaker, and my body felt heavier with each step. Just as my eyes began to close, I felt a cool breeze brush across my face. Fresh air. We had made it outside, but I still couldn't breathe, and everything slowly faded into darkness. Everything around me sounded distant, as if the world had drifted far away. I could hear voices, but I couldn't understand the words. My chest felt painfully tight, and every breath seemed to disappear before reaching my lungs. Then I felt gentle hands place me on the ground. Someone carefully rested a small mask over my nose and mouth. Cool, fresh oxygen slowly flowed into my body. I wanted to breathe, but I was so tired. Somewhere nearby, I heard a firefighter softly say, "Come on, buddy, stay with us." At first, nothing happened. My body felt cold and heavy, and I couldn't open my eyes. Then, little by little, each breath became easier than the last. The cool air filled my lungs, replacing the thick smoke that had trapped me inside. I coughed once, then again, until I finally took a deep breath on my own. The voices around me suddenly sounded clearer. Someone sighed with relief, and another firefighter smiled. I wasn't out of danger yet, but for the first time since the fire began, I was finally breathing again. As I rested beside my human, I slowly looked around. That's when I realized I wasn't the only one who had been saved. A few feet away, another firefighter gently held a frightened cat beneath a tiny oxygen mask. Nearby, 2 more cats were wrapped in soft blankets while kind hands carefully watched over them. Just like me, they had made it out alive. My heart felt full. Those brave firefighters hadn't stopped after finding one cat. They kept searching until every precious life they could find had a chance to survive. As the firefighters packed away their equipment, none of them asked for applause or recognition. They simply smiled, making sure every cat was safe before quietly returning to their truck. My human held me close, whispering how grateful they were through happy tears. I looked back at the heroes who had refused to leave without us. That was the moment I finally understood something important. Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear heavy boots, carry oxygen masks, and risk everything to save lives like mine. That night, I rested safely beside my human at the animal hospital. My body was still tired, but every breath came a little easier than the one before. The scary memories of smoke and fire hadn't disappeared, yet they no longer felt stronger than hope. Whenever I closed my eyes, I remembered the firefighter who carried me through the flames without giving up. Because of that brave choice, I was still here. I still had another sunrise to see, another gentle hand to hold, and another chance to live the life I almost lost. The days that followed were filled with quiet moments of healing. My human never left my side, gently reminding me that I was safe every time I became frightened. I still jumped whenever I smelled something unusual or heard a loud siren in the distance, but their comforting voice always helped my racing heart settle down. Some memories never completely fade, but they don't have to control us forever. Little by little, I found the courage to trust the world again, knowing that kindness can always shine brighter than fear. Sometimes I sit quietly by the window, watching the sunrise paint the sky with warm colors. The light feels different now because I know how close I came to never seeing it again. Every gentle breeze, every bird singing outside, and every peaceful morning has become a gift I no longer take for granted. Whenever I remember that frightening day, I also remember the brave firefighter who refused to leave me behind. Because of one act of courage, I learned that hope can always be found, even in the darkest moments. Before the firefighters drove away, my human walked over to thank them, with tears still shining in their eyes. They simply smiled, nodded, and quietly returned to their truck without expecting anything in return. I watched them disappear down the street, knowing they would soon answer another call to help someone else. They would probably never remember my name, but I would never forget theirs. To me, they weren't just firefighters. They were the reason I still had a home, a family, and another chance to wake up beside the person I love. My name is Toothy, and this is the day a hero found me. I may be just a little orange cat, but to the people who refused to leave me behind, my life mattered. If you ever see an animal in need, remember that even the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever. This story was inspired by a real rescue, honoring the brave firefighters who saved 4 cats from a smoke-filled apartment. Some scenes and dialogue were dramatized for storytelling, but the courage, compassion, and hope behind this story are very real.